So the whole basic reason, the whole point of doing all these videos is to try to inspire all of us to do things ourselves. Now, some things are not easy, some things are fairly easy, but if they're not easy, I mean, what's the fun? So also part of the point of this is to want us all to get better at things, to get more skilled, get a better skill base, learn how to do things, not just think about them. So as you can see, I'm working on the panel. What you see close to you is where the panel will meet the door frame. And you can also see I put the door there. So it has a shape to it. So I'm going to have to shape the panel, or actually that flange that I made on the panel, I'm going to have to make that shape. Now, one thing that I dislike, but it's hard to get around, is that you do need some kind of tools, and some of the tools are more expensive than others, which prevent us from doing things. That bugs me, but that's how it is. So I will be using my shrinker stretcher. It's possible to shrink and stretch metal with manual tools, completely manual tools. And you can find videos on that on the internet. I have. But this little piece of machine here, a shrinker stretcher, is really useful because it grabs the metal in a kind of softer way, and you don't damage the metal as much. Now, I even have a kind of a pedestal, which is also a foot lever, so that I can hold the pieces of metal and maneuver it with my foot. So that's what I'm going to use now to try and make that shape so that the panel meets the curve of the side of the trailer. And I don't know, maybe, at least here in Sweden, I think if I remember rightly, somewhere in between $250 and $300 for the whole assembly. So, yeah, well, in the end you need some tools. But don't let that stop you. Well, my back is a bit tired. I guess the expression could be wrangling, because this was a pretty big sheet to try to have control over and still get that flange into the shrinker. But this is the kind of a result you end up with. So I can make that flange follow the curve. And for those of you who are not familiar with that kind of tool, it just kind of grips it, like biting into it and then pulling it together. And you can make it pull together, or you can make it pull apart, shrink or stretch. So it's a great tool when you have a flange like this and you still want to have a shape or a curve into it. The first panel is on, and you can see from the heat marks where I've welded and about how many weld points I've had. There's some more down here, but you can't see those because they're welded to the underside. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, in some places I've used a piece of scrap iron because they don't meet, and the panel is the guide. So that's just how it is. But it looks okay. So I think that now I will be doing some of these parts. So there's going to be a lot more hammering and a lot more wheeling going on. So I'll get back to you and show you more, and we'll see how it turns out. More of a challenge.